temperamentally unfit to be president of the United States. That is going to be the line they're going to use against him continuously between now and November. And here's the rub. It's correct. It's more or less true. Even his supporters at this point are starting to hesitate, are starting to go, because he cannot stop it. You understand, yesterday we had the Second Amendment dust-up. Now, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I think when I listen to it, it sounds to me like he's kidding, but he's kidding about something that you cannot kid about as you're running for president. He's saying the Second Amendment people will take care of her, wink, wink. You know, that to me is perfectly obvious. And then he has his minions come out and they do this totally bullcrap story about how he meant, you know, they're going to go in the voting, blah, blah, blah. It's perfectly obvious what he meant. He was hinting at the Second Amendment people will take care of her, wink, wink. Because he even then goes on to say, and it'll be a horrible day, let me tell you. So he was kidding around about, you know, having them kill the opponent. That's not even close to acceptable when you're running for president of the United States. And now there's something in him that doesn't seem to recognize that you can't say and do whatever you want as president of the United States. And God forbid, imagine if he actually becomes president, you know, there'll be international incidents every 2 months because of him running off his mouth and saying something insane that he shouldn't say. And you just can't have a president who acts like that. And even his supporters recognize this on some level. You're seeing the frustration with even some of his supporters. They're starting to say, I wish he would just keep his mouth shut and stick to the issues. Well, he isn't going to do that. It's not going to happen because he has not learned what he needs to know. One of the problems with being an outsider is you have no idea how the game is actually played. You can't say anything you want when you are running for president of the United States. You can't make all the types of jokes you want to make. To a certain degree, you have to be politically correct, as ironic as that sounds. You know, you have to keep your mouth shut because there are different interests out there and you have responsibility to different groups and different types of people. And you can't just say whatever you want. Now, he is learning that lesson the hard way, but he ain't going to learn it. There isn't enough time between now and November for him to switch gears, to do this presidential pivot that we keep hearing about. Yesterday was the last one, you know, or 2 days ago. We're talking about he had his speech at the Detroit Economics Club. He does a speech on economics, and all of his supporters are like, here we're going to see the new Trump who's going to stick to the issues. And I'm already like, doubt it. And here we are a day later, a day after his presidential pivot, and he's doing his Second Amendment, making his Second Amendment joke. He ain't going to change. I mean, at this point, his supporters are enablers. And you're going to see more and more people, you know, start hedging their bets against him, less and less, more and more. The trickle of Republicans who are starting to turn against him will turn into a lot. And if, let's assume, and I'm assuming that he's going to say or do 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more big deal controversial things between now and November. That's not that outrageous of an assumption. There'll be at least 1, there could be 2, there'll be 3, there could be as many as 5. And they're going to, even his supporters are going to recognize that you cannot give this person command of the United States of America. I mean, it's just too obvious at this point. So that's where we're at right now. And that's how I see it.